But if these people are woke enough to put something on there that, you know, I get to identify, so I can't afford the hay I'm sitting on, there is nothing more racist than the bigotry of low expectations. And that's exactly what's on this flyer. Hey y'all, Billy from Perma Pastures Farm. It's a little warm out today, especially when you're out here stacking hay. In fact, the only thing I can think of that's hotter than this day is the end of that doobie that Hunter Biden is probably smoking as I do this right now. Maybe the crack pipe. I'm not sure which one is hotter. But anyway, it is warm out here. And so for a guy that's stockpiling a bunch of forage for the winter, part of it is this mountainside you see right here. Why on earth would I be getting hay right now? Why would that even matter? Well, before I get into that, let me just go ahead and tell you, hey y'all, bam! Billy's new book is out right now. It's called Scrap Steading. This one ain't for sale. It's kind of a demonstration copy. Me and Matt Hundley basically wrote a book together, and it's for all you folks out there that are thinking about getting into this space. You might have limited means, and we're taking basically the knowledge that we've acquired all these years of doing this, having had to do it, especially early on with very little. It's all right there in that book. You can find it at scrapsteading.com. We'll have a link down below. Also, we got a new website. Want to check that out. It's not that rinky-dink number we had before. We're actually moving into the big leagues in terms of a website. Anyway, that's all there. So, like I said, I digressed a little bit, but why on earth would somebody like me, who talks all about preparedness and stockpiling forages, definitely part of it. What you see behind me, back up in those woods, that's all part of it. That's all stuff that's being stockpiled for the winter. So why on earth would I feel the need to go out and get all the hay you see me sitting on right now, most of which is orchard grass, a little bit of fescue in there, a whole lot of clover, and a little bit of weeds. That's how I know that they didn't spray this stuff, which, by the way, if you want to know where to go to get this stuff, let me know down below, and I'll get you the contact information. They didn't want to be on the YouTube video and out there for public, but they did say if you need any hay or straw that hasn't been sprayed, these people are located basically in Marshall, North Carolina, and they got plenty. So by the time this video goes out, you'll know that I got all I want. So here's what I'm getting at. We live in this world where we got to be thinking about all the crazy things going on, whether it was the wildfires in California, whether the stuff over in Hawaii. Is it contrived? I'll leave that up to you to figure that part out. Is it controlled? Once again, I'll leave it up to you to figure it out. But there are places and times, even though I'm reasonably sure that I got more than enough stuff put back, I'm basically going to have this hay stacked plumb up as high as I can possibly get it. Plus, it's going to be in other locations because I'm not sure of what may be pulled in this world. I don't know what's going to happen. But that's really not what this video is all about. I do, in every single video, I want to make everybody aware that there is always going to be, I'm always going to put some preparedness component into it. Not out of fear, but out of preparedness. Stay alert, stay alive, right? You can find out more of that in our podcast. But what I want to talk to you today about is, I just can't believe how much this stuff is going on out there. There's a, I'm not going to go into the details of this, but basically I'm holding a flyer. And it's basically a community outreach as I understand it. And they got pricing for these classes that they're offering, okay? Like I said, I'm holding it right here. I'm not going to go into any detail. Okay, so these community classes, it's with the expectation that, hey, you know, you got to pay for it, right? You got to pay for it. I don't have to pay for it. So right off the bat, you got one rate, supporter rate, which is $325. Pays for you and uplifts the community. This other one, sustainer rate, $275. Pays for you because you are valuable. Well, I'm valuable. I'll get to that in a minute. Community rate, $175. For those who are military, have Medicaid, or need of financial support. And then dig this one. You're going to love this. We got the equity seat. You know what that costs? $0. And this is for those who identify as Black, Indigenous, or people of color. How about that? You know, because I can't afford what everybody else has to pay. And apparently all these folks on a fixed income, they don't even get a break. But it's folks that look like me, or better still, let me make sure I get this right, for those who identify as black, indigenous, or people of color. So let me ask all you pale faces out there, do you think maybe you might want to identify as a person of color, indigenous, or something else? Because I got news for you. Unless you're Elizabeth Warren, you're probably mixed with a whole lot of stuff out there. I mean, all of us. So in some way or another, you might identify as that. Folks, this is getting out of control. I mean, when Michelle and I were first considering whether or not we wanted to move in this area, we'd go into a coffee shop and those people were treating me like I was Michael Jackson without the pedophilia. They were giving me free everything. And I'm like, man, this is just out of control. What's the occasion here? I remember being in the middle of a Antifa riot. Downtown Asheville. Black Lives Matter and Antifa out there. They were sitting here going nuts on all these old timers and all these other people out there. But then they were, even though I was with those people, they were like, oh, you're cool. I'm like, well, why am I cool? Oh, you know. No, I don't know. What is it? Why don't you tell me what Antifa is? What about Black Lives Matter? So then all of a sudden, when they realized I wasn't buying their wokeness, all of a sudden they treated me worse than the people that were pale faces out there. How about that? Folks, all I'm saying is we got to do what Jack Spearcoat calls, and I'm going to loosely quote it as his mental jujitsu. When these people put something like this, for those who identify as black, indigenous, or people of color, maybe you might want to be that. Because these days you can be just about everything, right? Or, you know, if they're going to give you a price break on that, use their lunacy in reverse. Or maybe some of you folks live in an environment like a HOA where you can't have chickens. But when they come out there to dog you and say, look, you can't have those chickens or roosters, maybe you ought to tell them they identify as dogs. You ever think about doing that? Because it's time, it is high time that we get past this nonsense, and the only way to do it is to flip it back on them. In fact, let this mask mandate, like they're talking about bringing back, folks, you're going to see the most viral video you ever seen me do. Don't worry. You'll tune in. I guarantee it. When they try to pull that stuff again, I guarantee you'll tune in for what I'm going to pull. Because the only way around this is to either mock what they're doing, in some way or another make fun of it, or use it, flip it on its head, just like my man Jack talks about. Think about that. I know I covered a lot in this video, and part of it being preparedness. Even though I got more than enough stuff put back, I'm putting back plenty of hay for two reasons, really. There's areas out in these pastures that we got to recover, and we'll be using Greg Judy's method to do that, as we always have. So check out Greg Judy's YouTube channel also. In addition to that, I don't know what crap they're going to pull. So I need to be ready for it. Even though it may cost you a few bucks. But like I said, this stuff ain't organic necessarily, but it didn't have any junk sprayed on it. Good enough for me. Folks, I want to remind you one more time. I just wanted to put this little blurb out there to just get everybody thinking about this kind of stuff. And think about your preparedness. That's a lot of what we provide at our website. That comfrey, yeah, that is also a preparedness component. We just covered it a week ago. We cover it all the time. Bone sauce is to help protect your investment, even though we don't really have any right now. Folks, all this stuff out there, not only are we going to have to be prepared right here with what I'm sitting on, but you better be prepared up here for the nonsense they're pulling. Right now, look, you can pretend to be a trans-testicle polar bear. Maybe you might want to use it. You can pretend to be black. Why not? Why not? You're animals. Supposedly you can't have them. Maybe they want to be, maybe they would like to identify as dogs or service animals. Whatever the case. I mean, I don't care. You got to pull it. You got to use it in reverse these days. So when they have this split pricing that they have over here, look, I'm down for giving a discount for the military. Okay for Medicaid. I'm okay for whatever discount you offer. But if these people are woke enough to put something on there that, you know, I get to identify, so I can't afford the hay I'm sitting on, there is nothing more racist than the bigotry of low expectations. And that's exactly what's on this flyer. because I can afford it. In fact, I could probably buy and sell half the idiots that wrote that on there to begin with. Don't do me any favors, all you wokies out there. In fact, you probably tuned out long ago as soon as I dogged your boy Hunter Biden. Anyway, like I said, if you need anything from us, remember we got scrap steading out right now. Go check out that website. Go check out our new website. And by all means, folks, be on the lookout for all these different festivals. We'll talk more about them as they come up, because it's a good way to fellowship with the other people out there. I know we live in a wacky world, but right now is a time where we really got to stand up and smell the corruption, or all fall asleep drinking the hemlock. All right, y'all. I got to get back to it. I got more hay to stack. Till next time, this is Billy from Perma Pastures Farm, where permaculture is my passion. We'll see y'all next time.